Hello guys, Rackhamdar here. Welcome back to another brand new YouTube video. Today we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different. And as you can see here, we are on a on the Yu-Gi-Oh Pro kind of program here. And basically this is going to be a little bit of a showcase of the TCG of Yu-Gi-Oh. In one of my previous videos I had like a big kind of update on the direction of the channel, stating that we're going to be focusing more on card games. And one of the things that I wanted to do was focus and like in that update I mentioned that we're going to be doing Legends of Runeterra and Yu-Gi-Oh, and then in the Yu-Gi-Oh spectrum I said I did want to actually start trying to get more into the card game. So like actual physical TCG card game. You know, I have the cards, I have them, I purchased them. I don't know how like crazy that's going to become in the future. Like I do want to go to some tournaments, but I'm not sure what that's going to entail. But at the very least, we do have some of these online programs developed by the fans of the game really well. You know, really thankful that they go through the time and effort to create these. You know, they don't get paid to do this. I mean, I think there may be a way to donate to them, but I don't know for sure. I'm not going to really, you know, that's something that you can look into yourself if there's like a way to maybe. I don't think they're allowed to like advertise that they take donations or anything, because this is like, you know, it's not their product. They don't own Yu-Gi-Oh, so they can't do any of that kind of stuff. So don't take anything that I'm saying at like as like a statement that they do that. But anyway, you know, like they go through a lot of effort, time and effort to create these wonderful programs so that we can play the game. You know, test decks and play decks and really experiment with the different types of things that are available. And so I made a deck, I played a few games, have some replays. I think I want to talk about it. I did manage to, you know, very similar to Duel Links, I'm going to talk about the cards, why I play them, and show off, you know, a couple of replays showing off the power of the deck. You know, quick disclaimer that I should mention, none of these are going to be against any meta decks. I couldn't find a meta deck on the online system. Nobody with meta decks was like showing up. So there won't be any, you know, crazy tier 1 decks, Sky Strikers, Orchist, any of that stuff. I don't end up getting to play any of them. And so like this isn't like a true showcase of like coming out on top against the strongest decks that the game has to offer. But we do win against quite a lot of the mid-tier decks. The OTK power of the heroes that we're going to be playing, as you can probably tell from the title, is very strong and does allow us to just destroy some of the mid-tier decks, some of the rogue decks that we play against. So yeah, we have here the deck list that I'm playing. We are playing Omni heroes, so that means every hero is here. We have Destiny, Elemental, Vision, Evil, and Mask. So all of the hero archetype is here and ready to go and ready to destroy our opponents. And I guess technically there's 6 now, because extra hero, I guess you could maybe call an archetype. But I assume they just call it that because they're in the extra deck and only really there so that you can actually make fusion monsters. But yeah, so the hero archetype is pretty familiar, you know, pretty famous. It's one of the most popular archetypes. It's my favorite archetype in the game by far. I played masked heroes a lot in Duel Links whenever they were the tier 1 deck. They kind of fell off, and then since then I've actually been trying to make them work a little bit better, but I still haven't found that, you know, that special deck list that I'm looking into, or special deck list that I've been able to make work in Duel Links. More details on that in a future Duel Links video, because I am still iterating on that. But yeah, so we have here you know, a deck list. I took this deck list online from a couple of different resources. The main one is from Ruggles. Ruggles, if you don't know who he is, he's another Yugi tuber. I highly recommend you go check him out. He's a very just a very cool guy. Makes really well done videos. He's basically he's doing an entire series where he's documenting his return to Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's like a documentary style video. Really great camera work, really great editing. Really just makes you feel like you're watching like a mini series that you would see on TV, which is really crazy considering YouTube is a free platform. Go check him out, go support him. In his early stages of coming back to Yu-Gi-Oh, he familiarized himself with the current meta game by playing a version of this deck here. A couple of these cards are not available, so he doesn't play them, and I just kind of switched them out. So we do have Elemental Hero Liquid Man and Elemental Hero Sunriser. These two cards are only right now available in the OCG, which is the Japanese only cards. These guys are set to come out very soon, I believe. So I'm recording this in December. I think they're supposed to come out in January, so next month. I'm definitely looking forward to them. These two cards really make the deck so much fun. These two cards are probably my favorite cards. I love them so much. They're really, really cool. So I can't wait to try these guys out. But the rest of the deck is pretty much what he built, with a couple of changes for myself from playing and all this other stuff. We do have Evil Heroes as well. These guys are really expensive, so I don't actually own them, but I do own pretty much every other card that is here, with the exception of the exclusive ones. I can't buy these cards. I could probably import them with the Japanese text, but that's a lot of work, especially since they're coming out already. They're coming out pretty soon. So let's talk about the deck. So Omni Heroes, heroes are a fusion archetype. They've always been fusion related, and they still are. They do have link monsters to enable those fusion plays and help make them more consistent and compete a bit more with some of the the modern meta decks. But for the most part, we're relying on the power of these fusions. They are a very combo-based deck. We're going to swarm the board, and we're going to create big monsters and hope that our opponent can't swing over them and can't deal with that board. In the TCG, going first is often the best. It really leaves very little room for your opponent to disrupt you. So unlike in Duel Links, where in Duel Links, going first can be really good. There are a lot of decks that benefit from going first, especially if they have a lot of back row related cards like Floodgate, Trap Hole. But in Duel Links, it's also just as fine to go second. And there are even some going second only decks in Duel Links. Like the Masked Hero deck in Duel Links is much more favored to going second than going first. But even in a deck like this, where you do want to OTK your opponent with strong monsters, you still want to go first in order to prevent your opponent from setting stuff up that can prevent you from doing anything. There is a lot of negations and interruptions. The game is very fast and very chaotic now. And so going first really helps avoid a lot of those types of things. It also lets you set up Destiny Hero Plasma, which is going to be our primary boss monster of the deck. He has 1900 attack, so it's kind of risky, but this deck does make up for it. So basically, Plasma negates all face-up monsters, and it really can turn off a lot of your opponent's plays. There's a lot of replays where as soon as Plasma hits the field, my opponent can almost not do anything at all. And most of the turn 1 plays that I'm trying to make involve putting Plasma to the field in some regard. Normally, that's a very risky thing. While he can turn off your opponent's effects, he's very weak. He only has 1900 attack and 600 defense. However, the deck does now have means of defending him, even though he's got such weak attack. The first one is Extra Hero Dread Decimator. For each hero with a different name in your graveyard, which should be a lot because we're running the Omni Heroes, you boost up all heroes that he points to by 100 attack. So we're going to summon Plasma to one of his link arrows so that he points to him and boosts his attack. Dread Decimator himself also gains that attack boost. So this is a really powerful way to boost up Plasma by 6, 7, 8, 9, sometimes 1,000 extra points of damage, making him a lot harder to swing over. For example, Evil Hero Adjusted Gold is a 4-star monster, so that you can normal summon him with 2100 attack. And more monsters like this exist in the TCG at the moment. Some with 2000 attack. So there's a lot of 4-star monsters that you could probably just normal summon and swing over him. So it's really important that we boost up his attack. Additionally, we are running Elemental Hero Honest Neos. This guy is kind of dumb. As a quick effect, you can discard him to boost your attack by any hero monster, any hero, by 2500. So not only do we get the extra benefit of Decimator, Plasma can now gain 2500 additional attack points from the Honest Neos. You're not swinging over that with a lower level monster, and it's probably going to be able to beat out a lot of the higher level monsters. Like 2500 extra attack, like just 1000 extra attack is enough, but 2500, that's gonna, like, he's going over 3000 easily. He's gonna go over 4000 with the 25, so it's kind of insane. Honest Neos really protects your Plasma and really lets us make some combos that let Plasma just live. So from there, we're pretty much just running a bunch of monsters that help us more consistently get to Plasma. The TCG is incredibly consistent. You don't rely too much on your draw. I mean, obviously it's a card game still, so it's, you know, there's a lot of drawing, but the ways that we can search our deck are just so limitless at this point that we can almost always consistently get a combo going in order to get to our extra deck. So we have 3 copies of Malicious. This is in Duel Links, but only at 2. It's a hard limit to 2 because you literally can't obtain a 3rd copy at all throughout the game. And probably for good reason. Malicious is a really strong card. While in Duel Links, it probably wouldn't be terrible at 3 because of the limitations of getting him to the graveyard. He still would be really strong. Vision Hero Ferris at 3. Vision Hero Ferris is the enabler of the deck. The main combo of this deck is Ferris, or is the Vision Hero engine. So basically, Vision Hero Ferris, he's going to discard a hero monster to special summon. That will allow him to send Increase to the spell and trap zone as a continuous trap. That's kind of like that's like pretty much the gimmick of the Vision Heroes, is they have like these effects that go to the spell and trap zone. And then Vision Hero Ferris can tribute a hero monster to summon himself, and when that happens, he can summon a Vision Hero from the deck that is level 4 or lower. And so basically, discard, summon, sets, tribute, summon the Increase, summon the Vion. So now you have Vion and Increase in your hand, or on your field, in order to make more plays. Vion's going to be able to send a card to the graveyard. Normally you can send the Malicious to really just set up a lot of extra stuff. And then you can also banish the Increase that you used as tribute fodder to search your polymerization. Just a really consistent like combo. We're also running 3 copies of Vision Hero or Elemental Hero Stratos. As soon as Stratos got off the ban list and the TCG, we were pretty much guaranteed to see him at 3 in every hero deck. He's just such a godly good card. Like, holy crap. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can either search a hero monster from your deck, or you can destroy spells up on the, or you can destroy back row on the field up to the number of heroes you control except him. So if you have like 3 fusions on the field and you summon him, you can destroy 3 spell and trap. It is non-targeting destruction as well, so that's a really, like, that's just really good all around like effects that you can use. Stratos is a definitely MVP of the deck. And we're also running 2 Emergency Call. This allows us to search an elemental hero, so normally we're going to be summoning Stratos. We're running 1 copy of Celestial, 1 copy of Dynatag. The main reason that we're running these guys is because we're running 3 copies of Fusion Destiny. Fusion Destiny will allow us to summon Dystopia by using materials from our deck. So the main ways that we're going to be using this is to send Celestial and Malicious to the graveyard. But if we've already sent Malicious or we drew Malicious, we can also send Dynatag. And that's pretty much the main thing that we're doing there. Celestial in the graveyard, if you've seen any of my Duel Links stuff, he's in Duel Links. He's a really good card. If you don't have anything in your hand, you can draw 2 cards by banishing him and another Destiny Hero monster. Really good follow-up if you're starting to like run out of resources and you've already used your hand to get stuff to the field. This is a really good way of like kind of furthering some plays in the mid game. 2 copies of Liquid Man. This guy is in the OCG. When he's normal summoned, you can revive a monster from your graveyard, level 4 or lower. Any hero monster. You're starting to notice the trend that all of these heroes monsters are starting to work together very well. It used to be pretty specific, like if you look up Drill Dark. Drill Dark is a Destiny hero monster that only works on Destiny heroes, right? If this card is normal or special summon, you can summon a Destiny hero from your hand. So it used to be pretty exclusive. Destiny heroes would work together, elemental heroes would work together, but now in the TCG, they're all working together. I like it. I would like to see some more like specific synergy, you know, get that kind of theme going, that fantasy of like playing only the Destiny heroes, the really edgelord ones and all that stuff, but at this point I'm okay with it. It's really fun to just combo all of them together. And additionally, if he is used as fusion material, you can also draw 2 cards and then discard 1. These effects can only be used once that turn, and you can only use one of them, so you have to choose to either revive a monster or draw 2 as fusion material. We do have Solid Soldier. If he is summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower hero monster. Normally that kind of combos well with Shadow Mist in order to search your Mask Change. Shadow Mist, if special summoned, and only special summoned, you can search your Mask Changes. There's a couple of decent ways to make that work. Normally you're going to use Solid Soldier or Monster Reborn. Additionally, if Shadow Mist is sent to the graveyard by any means, you will be able to search a hero card. You can only, similar to Liquid Man, you can only use one of those effects that turn, so you can't use both of them. And then Vion and Increase, we kind of talk about those. We do have A Hero Lives. This is another way to summon Shadow Mist if you want to do it that way, but this will just, if you have no monsters, pay half your life points, any level 4 or lower hero or elemental hero gets summoned to the field. Dark Calling, this is our Evil Hero Fusion. So as you notice, we do have Evil Heroes. We only run one Evil Hero monster, and that is a Dusted Gold. This card just searches your fusion. So we're going to use Dusted Gold to search Dark Calling, and then Dark Calling will summon our big boy Malicious Bane. This fusion monster is kind of insane. You can destroy all of your opponent's face-up cards with less attack than this card. Additionally, he permanently gains 200 attack for all the monsters destroyed this way, and he cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So he's just a big boss monster that's going to be pretty difficult for your opponent to get rid of. Polymerization is Polymerization. We also have Reinforcement of the Army at 1. Searches our stuff. Miracle Fusion. Sunriser, the new one, the new OCG card, can now search Miracle Fusion when it's summoned. It is really nice. This also enables us to play Absolute Zero, because now we can, use the Liquid Man, search out the Miracle Fusion, Miracle Fuse for Absolute Zero. It's just really really nice. And then Sunriser has some additional properties as well. All of your monsters gain attack equal based on the number of different attributes you control by 200. So if you have him and one other dark monster, which is normally going to be Decimator, all of your monsters gain 400 attack. Additionally, he has another effect where if a hero monster is involved in battle, you can just target one card on the field and destroy it. So if they declare an attack, you can destroy a monster. If you declare an attack, you can destroy a monster. Or it doesn't have to be a monster, it could be anything. So really nice effects there. Fusion Destiny, Monster Reborn, Mask Change. You can't summon Masked Heroes without Mask Change. Super Polymerization, and Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters was Infinite Impermanence. I used to have Infinite Impermanence in here instead in order to help disrupt my opponent if I went second, but I eventually learned that it's pretty important to have Twin Twisters. There's a card in the game called Mystic Mine, which we'll talk about in a few moments during the replay, and it made me realize that I do want some back row removal that aren't based on my monsters. And then Super Polymerization can also, we have one copy of Starving Venom Dragon. In case my opponent is playing dark monsters, we can use Super Poly to just kind of suck up that dark monster. Super Poly is a really good card. We do have Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader works well with the Destiny heroes. He's going to special summon Destiny heroes from your graveyard when he is summoned. And then also tribute a Destiny hero to search your deck for any hero monster. This guy is really good. And then we also can run Dread Decimator. This guy is going to be able to boost up our attack points and just make our board of heroes just really high level, or really high attack. Normally 3,500 attack or higher. And that just makes the deck really hard to swing over. So your opponent really has to figure out how to make things, get destroyed by non-battle related ways. And then all the masked heroes, they do their masked hero stuff. We do have Trinity for potential plays. Adoration is pretty good. Just kind of, most of their effects, you can kind of notice why they're here. Mass Hero Blast, pay life points, send a spell or trap card back to the hand. He's also the reason we can run him, because we can run Stratos. But for the most part, the main masked hero that we want to focus on is Dark Law. Dark Law is the best masked hero in the game. Basically, while it's your opponent's turn, if they try to add anything from their deck to their hand, unless it's a draw phase, you can just banish a card in their hand, just straight up. And then anything that would be sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which is really, really, really good. So basically, like if your opponent's playing heroes, for example, like let's say they summon the Vion. The Vion wants to send Malicious to the graveyard to ban it, to banish Malicious in order to summon more Malicious. Well, now all of a sudden, your opponent, that monster that they tried to send to the graveyard, just gets banished instead. Anything that you destroy by battle, they'll get banished. Anything you destroy on the field by card effect, it'll just get banished. So Dark Law is really good, and that's pretty much like he's going to carry us in a couple of games, as well as Plasma. So, all right, that was a long-winded. I hope you guys followed pretty well. I'm not a master at this deck. I'm not an amazing TCG player. I play a lot of Duel Links. I know how the effects work, but there's still a lot of meta knowledge that I'm not familiar with. So let's watch some replays. We're going to go through. I'm just going to kind of go through. I want to start with Valkyria. So Valkyria is a player that I played quite a lot of. Me and him went back and forth. We played like 8 to 10 duels, I would say, and he was a lot of fun. So this one, he doesn't really draw too well, and he plays he sets a back row card, and then he plays the flip flop frog. This is in the Duel Links as well, which is kind of crazy. Like his entire deck is in Duel Links, like the invoked stuff now and the Element Saber. He's basically playing a Duel Links deck, so I started getting some Duel Links nightmares there. So this guy's going to return a monster to our hand whenever it gets flipped over. However, Elemental Heroes are kind of insane, and so you can kind of see that we're just going to pop off. I use Stratos to search Ferris, and then Ferris, is going to start making his plays. We send the Malicious in our hand, and then this is a pretty standard combo. Like, this is the main combo you got to learn. Ferris, summon the increase tributes to Ferris, and then increase summons the Vion. Vion's going to send a card. We do send the Adusted Gold because we already have Dark Calling. And then we make Cross Guy. Cross Guy will revive the Malicious, and that will allow us to search our deck. And then we're going to search our deck for Honest Neos. And then we can now use Malicious to make more plays happen. And we're just going to fusion a bunch of stuff together. We do summon the Sunriser and the Malicious Bane, as well as have a card on the field just for a little bit of extra protection. Sunriser searches our Miracle Fusion. I saved the Miracle Fusion to make a play in the future. I don't want to waste all of my resources turn 1 because I'm not convinced that I'm going to lose here. So I swing in and I decide to destroy the back row because I don't like back row cards. So I decide to go for the back row. He takes a lot of damage from the from the frog. Because I didn't mention it, but Decimator gives piercing damage as well. So he takes a ton of damage, and then the Flip Frog returns Bane back to my deck. So Bane's basically gone for good. And then from here, I swing in with Sunriser, 3300, and I play the Honest Neos. And Honest Neos would boost him to 5800, giving me the win. He does surrender before that. So this one is another one against Valkyria. This one I wanted to save just to show off just the pure damage potential you can make with heroes. So he does have Mystic Mine in his hand. This is the reason that I put in Twin Twisters, because when I was playing him, I didn't have Twin Twisters, I had Infinite Impermanence, and Mystic Mine essentially just turned off my entire deck. But he was really cool about it. After cheesing me a little bit with the card, he was like, I'm no coward, I'm going to play my deck the way that I want it to play. So he plays the Terraforming, searches out his stuff, and gets ready to make Invoker plays. He does play the Flip Flop Frog, but it's heroes, so this is too slow. This is just... You can't do this anymore in the TCG, pretty much. Like, heroes aren't the only deck that would just ruin this guy for doing, like, set 1 and pass is really, really slow in the TCG. It's kind of almost impossible to make that work anymore, unless you do have something like the spell, like the cave. So I just pop off. Like, there's really nothing else to say. I draw the poly, use the Ferris, make the Ferris combos happen, and it just goes crazy. Use the malicious, search out the solid soldier. Solid soldier will search or summon the shadow mist. Shadow mist will give me mask change, and then I use malicious, bring out the big boy, fusion into Sunriser. Solid soldier revives the solid soldier will revive shadow mist, and then I use and then from here I use fusion destiny. So the drawback of fusion destiny is it does force you into only summoning dark heroes for the rest of the turn. So if I used fusion destiny early, I wouldn't be able to summon Sunriser or some of my other potential monsters. So I did want to save it for later in the duel. And then this is where we get to see Dystopia in action. Dystopia is going to destroy his face down. Basically, if Dystopia has an attack point that is different than your opponent, or than his original attack point, he can just destroy a card on the field, and he can burn your opponent for 1 for damage. So basically here, when Dystopia is summoned, he can deal damage equal to a level 4 or lower Destiny hero in the graveyard. So I choose Celestial, and then he deals 1600 because Celestial has 1600 attack, so he takes 1600 damage. And then I activate his Dystopia's effect, and then I chain Mask Change into Darklaw so that I can banish the Flip-Flop Frog instead of send it to the graveyard. This, banishing's better than graveyard nowadays because graveyard can be used for a lot of stuff. And then I just have a ton of, like, you're not surviving. He could have like 10,000 life. He could have 12,000 life. He's not surviving this at all. I pop his field spell as well just to be safe, just in case. And then that's just wins. And he was like, during the whole time he's in chat, he's like, holy crap, what the heck? He's like, oh. So yeah, those are some, that's with Valkyria. And then as soon as I got done playing Valkyria, me and him, we kind of disconnected. It was a little unfortunate. Shout outs to him, he's pretty cool. So we disconnected, but I wanted to get some more replays because I wanted to create a video. And the moment that I got done, playing him and whatnot, I went straight back to the deck editor and included Twin Twisters into my deck. And then this guy felt the power of the Twin Twisters. I had Mask Change in hand, so I don't need to use Shadow Mist to search it, so I just send Shadow Mist off of Twin Twisters, because it does require a discard. So he has 2 back row infinite impermanence, which could kind of cause me some issues. Like, these cards actually could throw me off. He could negate a Solid Soldier effect. He could also negate, or not Solid Soldier, but a Stratos effect. He could even negate one of the what's it called? Vision Heroes. He could negate the Vision Heroes. So he could actually disrupt me a little bit here. But I immediately popped the Twin Twisters. Twin Twisters destroys both of them, and that's an instant surrender. Stratos starts searching. Or Stratos, I use Stratos to search cards as well, and then he knows it's over. I could easily Fusion Destiny for Dystopia, and then pop his Link Karibo as well, avoiding the Link Karibo effect. So that was it was over for sure, but it was kind of like a lot of people just kept surrendering immediately. I understand, but at the same time, it was like, come on, man, I wanna play. So we do have another one here. This is where I do manage to get Ash Blossomed. So Ash Blossom is a hand trap card. Hand traps are popular in the TCG because, of course, going first is really powerful and boards are really hard to break sometimes. So Ash Blossom allows him to negate any of those 3 effects you see on the left-hand side. Checking my face cams in the right place so you can actually see them. So basically, it's a search. If anything goes from the deck to somewhere else, then you can negate it. So he has that in his hand, and he plays the Necro Valley. So Necro Valley is pretty annoying, but he plays it. And I believe that I So I activate the Vision Hero, and the Vision Hero does get the increased search. And then I immediately go for Stratos into destroying the Necro Valley because I don't want to deal with Necro Valley. It kind of shuts off my graveyard, and heroes do play a lot of the, heroes do play their graveyard. And then he ends up, I tribute the increase, he ends up Ash Blossoming the increase effect. But thankfully I already had a Malicious, so I didn't have to really rely on that. I do play the Cross Guy goes into Malicious, and then I get to search, I search the Adusted Gold in order to get Malicious Bane to the field. And this is where he actually surrenders. I didn't have OTK at all. Like, right here, I don't think I have OTK. I was going to Dread Decimator into Malicious Bane, but I wasn't going to have 8,000 damage on board. So, I mean, I might have if I summoned Malicious in attack mode. So, like, I send this one. I might have had it if I summoned Malicious in attack mode. So, I guess I was wrong. But I didn't notice it, so he would have survived, but he surrenders immediately anyway. So it is what it is. Like I said, there was a lot of surrenders. Here, we're going to start seeing Plasma. I choose to go first most of the time. I'm not usually really good at, like, really big on going first, because like, it's just a preference thing. I don't really care going second, but like, I know going first in the TCG is a really big deal, so I wanted to really practice my my opening, like my open boards. So here I do a bunch of stuff, and then I tribute all of those for Plasma. Here I actually should have summoned, I should have used Miracle Fusion to summon the, what's it called? What's his name? Sunriser. Because Sunriser's effect would boost up Plasma even more. And so that would give me a lot, even more protection with the Plasma. I usually set Mask Change early because I get tired of it asking me to use it, so I just set it early. So I guess spoiler, like, kind of giving everybody the details of my strategy. So if you play me on this ever, there's the little insider information. But he starts trying to pop off. But he actually can't do anything because Plasma just shuts off his deck. So here I absorb one of his things with Plasma, and then as you can see here, Plasma gets really strong because of Sunriser, and this was an accident. I thought I was searching for some reason. I didn't want to send the Honest Neos, I wanted to put it in my hand, but this was a misplay here. But thankfully, heroes have strong boards, and I ended up just killing him, just straight out. Lots of damage. Heroes are kind of crazy. Here's another Plasma one. Let's go ahead and do that. So a lot of these are just trying to figure out how I want to get Plasma. It's really, like, I'm not really great at it. It's not something I'm amazing at. But then there was a couple of times where I overextended my board to get Plasma. So it was kind of a hassle. He manages to summon this guy. It's like a hand trap effect where he can summon this if you link summon. It doesn't really bother me, and it actually kind of works against him. So here we summon Sunriser, and then we also activate Liquid Man's effect. So as you remember, Liquid Man has that effect where he can be, if he's used as fusion material, I can draw 2 and discard 1. So I actually use that effect to get some stuff. I then Monster Reborn, and then I bring out the Plasma. I use Plasma to attach to this card. Since he already played the card, even though it's my first turn and usually I wouldn't have to deal with any of that, I can just attach it. This gives Plasma a ton of attack points. Like, look at that. Like, there's no way that you can really get over this. And I felt a little sad because it turned out he was also playing heroes, and I know the pain. Heroes are really, really reliant on their monster effects, so just kind of lose at this point. Like, there's really, like, all of these effects are just gonna stop it. At this point, he realized there was nothing he could do. I don't know the interaction. He did have another Malicious that he could summon in order to get Plasma to the field. I don't know if that, like, how that works exactly. Does that turn off my monsters as well? Like, I don't really know the full details of how Plasma v Plasma would work. So that's that's an interaction I'm not familiar with, but maybe down in the comments you can let me know how that would work out. This thing I just kind of loaded or saved this one because I thought it was funny. As soon as I activate Vision Hero Ferris's effect, he surrendered. So I guess. Here's one last replay with Plasma. This one was a little sketch because I think this was one of the ones I almost overextended for Plasma. So kind of go through the same combo. You'll notice the Vision Hero combo is very, very like samey. Like you're going to do the same thing the whole time. So go ahead, summon I summon the Sunriser. I have the Plasma search, the Honest Neo searched. I activate the Mask Change, activate this guy, and then I Dread Decimator, bring him back, and then I summon the Plasma. So here, I do end up sacrificing the Sunriser for Plasma, and this is kind of where I might have overextended. Like, I'm not super, like, should I have done that? Or should I have ended on Sunriser and other cards? Because I could have Mask Changed in the Dark Claw. Like, I could have had Dark Claw on the field, doing stuff as well, and disrupting my opponent, forcing him to send it to the banish pile. So, like, this is where, like, maybe I overextended trying too hard to force Plasma onto the field. I do end up bringing out Malicious Bane as well, just to have it. And then my opponent tries to summon a bunch of stuff, and Plasma does negate their effects, allowing me to take this victory as well. I did do... did I do the more Plasma? Yeah, I did the more Plasma. Honest Neos. Alright, so here's some more Honest Neos action. 2500 attack is a lot of attack. Why does Honest Neos give you that much attack? Here we use Solid Soldier to activate Stratos. Stratos will send the Vion, because we're going to summon Vion anyway. I don't need him in my hand. Vion sends Malicious, and then we start making these plays. Malicious will activate their effects and do all this kind of stuff. And we do summon this guy. Do I send... I don't think I do the Plasma in this instance. Actually, I do. I do. So in this situation... oh, this was the Monarch player. I remember now. So he plays extra Foolish Burial, which sends a extra deck monster to the graveyard. And then he sends a monster to the graveyard, this guy, which destroys my Plasma. I wish I Mask Changed the Plasma. I didn't read his card. I kind of just like let it happen. I was like, I don't know what that's gonna do. Sure. I didn't read the card effects. He summons a token in order to tribute this guy, which will return my Decimator to the top of the deck, aka the extra deck. I do actually Mask Change this one in order to like make sure that I don't lose my whole field. And this is where he ends, but I actually managed to draw into Liquid Man, which really helps us out. I draw Stratos, which Stratos will send or give me the gold guy, the Adusted Gold. I also didn't realize during this duel that he had only 4,000 life points, so I actually make a few extra plays here in order to kind of like I bring out the elemental or the absolute zero, because I don't think that I don't realize he only has 4,000 life points. I'm going for the 8,000 OTK, not the 4,000. I used the effect of Malicious Bane here to try and destroy his monster. And here I'm also using some of my Duel Links, my Duel Links gameplay knowledge. There's delays, right? So in Duel Links, if you feel a delay, you know your opponent has an effect that they can activate because it gives them the opportunity to say no. And so here, my opponent is being given the option to say no to an effect. So I assume he has a card in his hand that can negate effects. And it does turn out it's an Effect Veiler. So he uses that on my Malicious Bane. That's one of the reasons why I was adding so many cards to my hand, or to my field, is so that I could OTK through a potential negation. He does negate, and then I still have enough damage on board, and Honest Neos is just kind of ridiculous. Like, that's 5,000 damage. But like, this was an OTK if he had 8,000, right? he didn't have 8,000, he had 4,000. I didn't realize that because he was sacrificing life points for effects. I didn't realize it. But this was going to be an OTK through 8,000 damage, because this was 5,000 and this was 3,400, so 8,400 damage. And that was what I was going for, because I didn't realize, like I said. One more Honest Neos play here. This one was actually really satisfying to pull off. He makes a little combo here, goes for the Predaplant, summons, and then he ends his turn on just one fusion monster. But this fusion monster prevents your opponent from special summoning cards. You can only special summon once, which I didn't realize. Or, well, I did realize, and so I made a play. I go for the Vision Hero Ferris, and I summon it in attack position. I send the Shadow Mist in order to search the Honest Neos, because Honest Neos is going to be my my out to this card. I summon the Stratos. Stratos searches Liquid Man, and I use Liquid Man just kind of like my second follow-up play, like after this turn's over. Battle phase, I use Neos, and he loses 21, and then he loses 16, and then I do have the Mask Change to finish him off with Dark Law. That was pretty fun. That was really cool. I really like that. If he didn't lose the 2,000 from his stuff, I wasn't going to Mask Change immediately. I was going to main phase 2, do a little more setup. But he did have that 23. I noticed he had 2,300 life points left, so I was going to just finish it there. Alright, so we have 2 last duels left. I know this is going on a little long. Maybe I saved too many replays, and maybe I'm just talking too much, but... so this one's probably one of my favorite duels that I ended up playing. So I'm playing against this player. I don't know what he's playing. I have no idea what this is doing. This is like some witchcraft going on here. I don't know what any of them do. I just kind of let him do stuff. And here, I actually make a few misplays. So I should have, I believe, I E-emergency called. I should have E-emergency called the Stratos, and then Stratos searched stuff. And then I would have searched the Vision Hero, and then I would have been able to use Vion, or send the Vion in order to summon the Vision Hero. But instead, I accidentally get a little too excited, and I summon, or I summoned too hastily. I searched the Solid Man, because I was thinking I could just use Shadow Mist, right? So I ended up getting into a really bad predicament where I have to Vision Hero Ferris my Plasma. And this actually turns out to be a really big problem, because my opponent ends up doing some crazy stuff with his monsters. So I continue going through the plays, setting up a field, trying to get some really strong monsters, and just doing my own thing. I do have Twin Twisters in the hand, or on the field. He summons the Cyber Dragon, and then he uses the Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. This is the this allows you to use your opponent's extra deck as material, and this gets rid of my monster. Or extra monster zone as material, so it gets rid of that. And then he summons Witchcraft Madame Verde. Pretty cool card, or pretty interesting card. Looks, I like the card art, really pretty. But it has a quick effect. You can discard one spell, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. So that turns off all of my monsters, which I do not like. And it seems like he has a bunch of recycling effects with his spells, so that pretty much guarantees that he always has a spell. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. I use Dystopia. I try to force out his effects to happen. Doesn't really give me much. I just end my turn, try to wait it out, see what my opponent can do. I try to force out my opponent's cards. I think that I'm playing this here as though he didn't have a spell. I want to destroy the Cyber Dragon core so he can't machine duplication, because I am familiar with that little combo with the Cyber Dragons. It turns out he's not doing any of that, so it doesn't really matter. He swings over my Vion, and I try to stop him, but of course he negates everything. And then I just kind of play this out. Like, most people would probably, not to be a little down, but I think a lot of people would have surrendered at this point. But I'm trying to play this out. Like, I want to figure out if I can slow play this, figure out what kind of stuff that I can do. I swing in, and then I use my Twin Twisters to destroy his 2 back row cards because I'm a little afraid of them. I also was hoping maybe this wouldn't stop the magical hats because I didn't want him to... I wanted to kill his Mega Fleet. But he actually uses it on his Witch, which is kind of a bad play on his part because I can't do anything to his Witch. He has 2800 defense. He basically just forced himself into a position where he has to flip her up to start negating. So that's what he does. He summons the core, he flips up the Witch. I don't know what he's doing here, but he enters the battle phase. The Witch also has the ability to boost its attack, so that's kind of unfortunate. He summons this card. Some more stuff happens. I Miracle Fuse into Absolute Zero here so that I can swing over, and then if he were to destroy Absolute Zero, he would still lose his monsters. And then I also use Liquid Man's effect. So here I go into the battle phase. I don't read this card. This card is protecting her from being destroyed, so I don't read it. Otherwise I would have Twin Twistered it. But I do have the increase. I revive. So I make a really good play here. This is a really strong play. I love this play so much. This is one of the reasons why I saved it. So he goes for the negation on my Dystopia. But I do have increase in my spell and trap zone. Increase is treated as a continuous trap, so I can activate the increase's effect as a chain. So I chain Dystopia's effect in order to destroy this card. And then I also use increase's effect to... this is all in the main phase too, by the way, so he already was protected. This one only protects once per turn. And then I chain increase's effect to tribute Dystopia. And because Dystopia got tributed, all of those effects still resolve, and he doesn't get negated because he's no longer on the field, which destroys his monster. But unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention to the time, and I accidentally let the time go out. And then finally, here's my favorite combo, one of my favorite combos with this deck. So I'll just go ahead and show it. Play the Solid Soldier, summon the Shadow Mist, activate the Mask Change, Ferris, send the Ferris, and then I start, I start popping off, making my own plays, doing my thing. Just kind of making stuff happen. Search the Miracle Fusion, use the thing to revive the Shadow Mist. Right here, I just set the Mask Change, and this is where I was saying that another potential opener that you can do with this deck is to just Mask Change to Dark Claw. Dark Claw is a pretty strong opener, and it really just kind of shuts off what my opponent's doing. On my opponent's turn, I used the second effect of Shadow Mist to search the Honest Neos to protect my monsters. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea what he's doing. He's just playing his deck, doing his thing. So here, I believe I draw the E-Hero Emergency Call. I summon, or I get the Emergency Call. I activate the Liquid Man effect, and then I use Shadow Mist effect again in order to search another Mask Change. Here, I didn't realize that I was supposed to stop myself, so I used all 3 of these as material. I only wanted to use 1 as material to summon Decimator, but I didn't realize I had to stop the program from asking for more material, so that's a little misplay there. And then I Miracle Fuse into Absolute Zero, and then I Mask Change Absolute Zero for Acid Mist, or Mask Zero Acid. So Absolute Zero, when it leaves the field, destroys all monsters your opponent controls, and then when Acid hits the field, it destroys all spells and traps your opponent controls, and Dark Law is on the field, so instead of destroying, they all get banished. This just pure wipes his field, and that's just OTK. This is my favorite combo. I love this combo so much. Miracle Fusion really lets you make this play happen. I go for the Honest Neos for guaranteed victory, because I don't want to potentially risk that he might have a hand trap of some sort, or some other effect. So that's all the replays. I didn't think that was going to take that long. I really apologize for how long this video is. I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, this is like my first little dive into the TCG. Next time I'll be sure to cut the video down by quite a lot. I didn't realize, like I said, most of these people were surrendering pretty early, but I guess I had a lot that's I was talking a lot through them, so I guess that added to the length and duration. And then there's also a pretty lengthy deck list description because, you know, these are the TCG decks, so there's 40 cards instead of 20 cards, so I'll keep that in mind for the next time. I was hoping I could maybe play one match, but I don't think that's going to happen. So instead, we're just going to end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of this. I know there's like another one that might, or there's another program very similar to this that has a ranked ladder on it. I have considered messing around with that. I like Dueling Book and the idea of it, but I'm not. Dueling Book just seems a little awkward to play or to record around because, of course, you do have to interact with your opponent a lot more. You have to, it's all manual. Even though the cards are like a little automated, you do have to manually like add stuff to the hand, send stuff to the field, and all that other stuff. And so you have to, you know, type out to your opponent, hey, I'm doing this, hey, I'm doing this. So it's a little more awkward, I feel, whereas this is all automated. Like I don't have to interact in that, you know, in that high capacity with my opponent. The program does all of that for me. So let me know if you have any like ideas on how to maybe improve this other than to obviously let the timer go down. If you want some more Yu-Gi-Oh content, please of course hit the subscribe button and that bell notification icon so you'll always be notified when the new video goes live. And if you want to see other TCG related or other card game related content, check out some of my Legends of Runeterra videos. Without further ado, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Later!